Let's talk about life fulfillment today and living a fulfilling life. I'm going to share a wonderful principle about the Course in Miracles that helps us really see why we all have a purpose in life. Let's talk about the miracle, the key to success in overcoming all kinds of fears. Hello, everyone. This is James Nussbaumer, and thanks for joining me in another episode of For a Better Life podcast. Today is Sunday, November 25th, and I'm telling you, it is Sunday after Thanksgiving, and I hope you people in the United States listening to me had your fill of turkey, because I just love this time of year, don't you? Where we eat all that turkey and give thanks to the people that we love, and just share some things and have a few laughs, and sometimes some of us just stay alone too, but we're happy there. I've had some people message in that they were being lonely, but happy so for Thanksgiving because that's the way they wanted it to be. Others had shared some experiences they had with me. One guy was telling me about his 16-year-old daughter's apple pie, the first apple pie she ever made. And it was exciting, but I don't want to go there, but maybe you can kind of guess what happened to that. But Sonia and Teddy of Virginia Beach, Florida, who are part of my mastermind group, Sonia and Teddy, thank you for messaging in, had asked me, can you explain more, Jim? We read your first book of the series called The Master of Everything, but you asked, we want to ask you, you had stated in there about, the gifts of the Holy Spirit teaching us about living a fulfilling life and leading us to our purpose and passion. Can you expand on that? Sonia and Teddy of Virginia Beach, I'm going to get to that. And if I don't answer your question, please message me back in, and we'll pick up next week on that. But I believe I got your answer for that. So let's talk about living a fulfilling life and the miracle of purpose in life. Really, if you're not living a fulfilling life, don't be too overly concerned with how you can learn a lesson so completely different from everything that you may have taught yourself. How would you know is what I want to say, what I want to ask you, because your part in living a fulfilling life is very simple. So bear with me as I sip on my morning coffee, and I need my eye opener this morning. And I just enjoy that fresh brewed Maxwell House coffee. Oh, it's just, don't you love the smell of coffee in the morning? Especially the sun is not quite coming up yet. It's, the winter months are approaching, and it just, I don't know. I'm seeing out the window, a little bit of light flickering from the town nearby. And it's just kind of nice. And my coffee smells so good and tastes so good this early in the morning. And I'm just enjoying this because I enjoy so much these Sunday morning podcasts. And, I get tremendous messages from people too that they enjoy it. And that makes me even enjoy it more. But what it does for me, and I've said this before, it gets me off to a new week and I feel rejuvenated after doing this podcast. So let's talk about living a fulfilling life. The miracle of purpose in life. Let me say that A Course in Miracles helps us see purpose in life by understanding that for life fulfillment, you only need to recognize that everything you learned was by teaching yourself what you really do not want. Whoa, let's look into that. Well, in book 1 of my series called The Master of Everything, subtitle, A Story of Mankind in the World of Illusion We Call Life, I stated that simply just ask the Holy Spirit within you, not somewhere outside of you, the Holy Spirit within you. Simply ask the Holy Spirit to teach you and give you instructions about living a fulfilling life. But do not use your experiences to confirm the false. Here's what I mean by that. This will only agitate you and keep you in the past where you have all them regrets, and keep peace away from you. peace of mind away from you. Let me further go on and say that I want to get this principle out of the way by A Course in Miracles, which really helps us to kind of understand where I'm coming from in this podcast. And to answer your question too, Sonia and Teddy of Virginia Beach. A Course in Miracles states, the first obstacle that peace must flow across is your desire to get rid of it, for it cannot extend unless you keep it. Now, I'm going to repeat that. The Course in Miracles states, the first obstacle that peace must flow across is your desire to get rid of it, for it cannot extend unless you keep it. You see, the ego in us, the ego-based mind, that fearful and doubting Thomas aspect in us that worries and regrets the past and worries about the future, it seems that the ego in us wants to, get rid of peace, the inner peace that we have. So therefore, if we're constantly trying to get rid of inner peace within ourselves, how can we extend it? That's what the Course in Miracles is trying to teach us in that simple principle. So when you are having some unpeaceful times, or you're up against the wall of some adversity, or you feel that you're not living a fulfilling life because things are just dragging you down, or you're disturbed in any kind of form or manner, just say to yourself these words and use them in a form of meditation if you like, or in the form of prayer. Now, I've borrowed these words from the Course in Miracles workbook for students. The lessons is at the end of the Course in Miracles book, not quite at the end, but after the text, for those of you that aren't familiar with A Course in Miracles. But the Course in Miracles has some words for lessons, and you can take them lessons and do what you want with them if you'd like, meditation or prayer. But I like to use these words in form of meditation, breathing meditation. The words go like this: I do not know what any of this means, and I do not know how to respond. I surely will not use my own past learning to guide me now. Now, I'm going to repeat that. This prayer, this set of words, is designed for when you feel that you are not living a fulfilling life, or that something is disturbing you. I'll repeat the words again. In a simple breathing meditation, I will use the words and I will say, I do not know what any of this means, and I do not know how to respond. I surely will not use my own past learning to guide me now. So you see, what I'm trying to say here is, by your refusal to attempt teaching yourself what you do not know about life fulfillment, then the Holy Spirit, which is your real inner divine self and your guidance system for life, will step in and do the speaking for you. This is the miracle happening. And you cannot be your own guide to miracles because it's you that made them necessary. It's your ego-based mind as a human that we all have, based on fear and doubt, that makes the need for miracles necessary. By the way, keep in mind as you're listening to me too now, if you're at YouTube listening to this, in the description area down below is a link called The Power Within You, an access link. And that will lead you to a strong video, wonderful video I recommend on how successful people get over the hurdles that are in the way when they're trying to live a life of fulfillment. And if you're at my website, at my blog, listening to this, because I've embedded this YouTube podcast into a article at my website. If you're there listening to this now, you'll see an image down below of a human being's hands trying to capture some light in between that image. And down below, it will say more here on life fulfillment. Click on that image and it will take you to that same video that I'm recommending called More on the Power Within You. So let's move on and say this is the miracle happening when you can allow the Holy Spirit within you to do the speaking for you. In other words, that's why I like the previous meditation I had just said, and I'll repeat them words again, because when you don't know what's going on, you're confused, you're up against the wall of adversity, you don't know what to do next, you can simply go within yourself and say, I don't know what any of this means, and I don't know how to respond. I surely will not use my past learning to guide me now. Leave it be at that. What you're doing is you're asking your inner divine self, your guidance system for life while you're in this world, called the Holy Spirit. You're asking your inner divine guide to step in and instruct you as to what to do next. So because you made the false, the means for undoing the miracle being provided for you, in other words, because you made the false, the means for undoing all the crap that's in your life is the miracle provided for you. Undoing the nasty thoughts that you thought about and turn them into some sort of a reality through assumptions and projections. Those need to be undone to undo them. And the Holy Spirit within you will always undo them. The Holy Spirit in you will always be there through God, because what is the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit is the Spirit of God, which is you. The Spirit of God, His Holy Spirit is you. It's His extension. The ray of light from creation that is in you, that is the Holy Spirit. It's your link to the oneness of creation. It's your link to your Creator. The Holy Spirit makes you at one with your Creator. Your Creator does not want you to be confused about how to respond. Your Creator does not want you to be satisfied with past learning that only led to mistakes. But your Creator does want you to be able to undo those ways of thinking. And that's why He gave us the light from Him, which we call the Holy Spirit, to undo. All you have to do is ask. And by asking, what you're doing is you're letting go of the fearful and doubtful and critical, judgmental, ego-based mind within you and allowing only the light to enter, and you're living from that rather than fear, doubt, criticism, judgment, assumptions, and projections. So the Holy Spirit will always be there when you invite Him. He's there anyways. It's not that you have to invite the Holy Spirit. You could call the Holy Spirit a she, like I always say. I'm using a masculine overtone because that's what we're used to. The Holy Spirit is always there. You don't really need to ask Him to enter. But by asking Him to enter, what you're doing is you're dropping down the blanket, the cover, so to speak, of the ego-based mind that is filled with doubt and fear and judgment and criticism. You're dropping that, you're letting it go. That's what's been covering the light. So by asking the Holy Spirit to enter, you are lifting the blanket that's covering the light. I hope that makes sense, because if it doesn't, then I'm going to have to think about how to expand on that a little more. But let me sip on another cup of my coffee, if you don't mind. So it is impossible that the Holy Spirit could ever get lost or lose His identity, because if He did, you would lose yours eternally. And you're not going to lose your identity eternally, because you are who you are throughout eternity. You're of the light of creation. That's never going to be anything different than that. The only reason you may not think that you're the light of creation, because you have the ego-based cover over the light. And as humans, we all have that cover. Some of us more degrees than others. Some of us are at different levels of cloud cover, we could say, blocking the light than others. It is impossible, remember, that He or she, the Holy Spirit, could ever get lost. for giving you the direction that you need. In book 2 of the series, called Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom, subtitle Lesson from A Course in Miracles. And by the way, both my books so far and the third one that's out now called And Then I Knew My Abundance, all published by Ozark Mountain Publishing Company, a mainstream publisher that I have a great relationship with. And I'm so thrilled, especially on this third book that has come out. And I just know that these books are going somewhere. So I hope that you all participate in them. And please, if you don't own my books, by the way, book number 4, I can't reveal the title on that yet, is under the editing process now and will be released in the coming months. But if you don't own the first 3 books, which I call the trilogy, please get them and put them in your home or your apartment, your office, your shop, whatever. I'd love for you to have my books in your home. You know, the miracle does not change you in order to fill an important slot or to keep up with current trends, is what I speak about in book 2 of the series called Mastering Your Own Spiritual Freedom. It brings you back to who you truly are, it brings you back to where you truly were, we should say. Let me say it that way. And still are before you started teaching and changing yourself. The miracle gives you purpose in life and life fulfillment. In other words, your cause for being in this world means that you need to be guilt-free. No guilt at all about being who and what you are. The effects from that, when we think of cause and effect, which is, we're not going to dwell on that today, which is another session in another podcast, but let's think about cause and effect just for a second. In other words, your cause is being guilt-free about who and what you are, and the effects of that will blossom for you to move on and live your life of purpose. It's how the world's most successful people think and operate, and how the most highly effective people who have ever walked among us lead their lives and find their ways to success. After years of progressive hearing loss, let me share a story with you about the 46-year-old German composer, the pianist Ludwig van Beethoven. Remember Beethoven? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I'm not gonna go there, but and I don't have a piano right here with me. But we all know of Beethoven. Okay, so was the miracle in Beethoven's? First of all, after years, let me back up and say again, as the years of progressive hearing loss for Beethoven at age 46, this German composer and a wonderful pianist, was now becoming completely deaf, totally loss of hearing. Was the miracle in Beethoven's, but anyways, nevertheless, let me say that he wrote his greatest music, living a fulfilling life, that included 5 symphonies that he had composed during his later years when he had total hearing loss. Nevertheless, he'd written, we should say, proper grammar, his greatest music, living a fulfilling life, that included the 5 symphonies that are amazing to this day. So really, was the miracle in Beethoven's ability to play the piano as well as compose and living a fulfilling life? Was that the miracle? No. The real miracle was within his acceptance, with his acceptance of life fulfillment through his God-given talents that he had, that he knew he had, and that he had recognized them, and that he began to take action on and take that craft and turn it into a wonderful creative product, such as the symphonies that he's known for. The miracle also of Beethoven, and the fact that Ludwig von Beethoven lived, that he was fulfilling, that he lived his life pursuing and fulfilling the will of God, which somehow Beethoven determined was his own purpose in life and his own true free will. Yes, Beethoven determined that his purpose in life was the will of God. Oh, Sonia and Teddy of Virginia Beach, doesn't that make sense? Why do we make things so difficult in this world? The will of God is not somewhere out there. The will of God is your purpose and your passion within you. Why is it your purpose and your passion? Why are you so passionate about what it is you love to do? Because God's will is that you be passionate about that you are doing. And that's what Beethoven tried to teach us through his wonderful composing. When Beethoven realized his hearing was totally gone, he could have easily perceived in himself that composing music was not his purpose, and he could have went on to pursue something else and then get lost and lead a lonesome life and leave the world never wondering what he was here for, like many of us do. But no, rather, instead, Beethoven went with his true gut feelings. He went with his true gut feelings, regardless of his physical impairments, and began living a fulfilling life. Another sip of coffee, please. So with that said, had he not, his life may have been filled with guilt and regret and lacking life fulfillment and wandering around miserable all of his life. But he didn't. But the pure inner joy that he did experience, the pure inner joy that Beethoven did experience, caused in turn more pure joy and peace to countless music lovers for all time to come. Wow! Now can you see God's will implanted in you as your passion and your purpose? Beethoven's persistence to honor his true free will, regardless of what the naysayers say, regardless of what well-intended but misinformed family members and friends say, regardless, Beethoven took that pure joy that he'd experienced and turned it into more joy for countless music lovers like myself and others for all time to come. Beethoven's music is with us. It's not going away. Wouldn't you agree? My point in all this, now that I get so excited, but it just thrills me. It sends chills up my spine to just, think of how wonderful the will of God is. And it also saddens me that many of us want to battle against it. But consider this with all your heart. The Holy Spirit has freed you from the past, and now he teaches you to accept his accomplishments as yours and has made you free from what your ego made. I'm going to repeat that. Consider this from your heart. The Holy Spirit has freed you from the past, so don't regret it any longer. And now he teaches you to accept his accomplishments as yours and has made you free from what your ego made. All of the Holy Spirit's works are yours. The Holy Spirit offers you a miracle with every undoing of your self-taught ways. As I close, let me say, please support my work. You'll notice that I advertise on my website, my mastermind community. I'd love to have you join my mastermind community. It's subscription only, but you may not be ready for that. And you may just want to jump on board with the free version of my newsletter for a while if you're one of those that like to stick your toe in the water a little bit until see how the water is. But in the mastermind community especially, what we do is, if you've enjoyed this article, then you will love the Everyday Miracles Mastermind, where we, you the reader and I the author, we bring our world, we bring our mind together, and we help each other for self-success and for a better world. And if you want to get the free version called the Everyday Miracles, you'll see it everywhere on my website and here at YouTube too. Click on it, join, become a member. Like I said, if you don't want to do the subscription only version yet because you want to stick your toe in the water for a while, that is fine. No one will ever pressure you. I write content from my heart, like this podcast is about. And I would love to have you as a subscriber. Also, you will note that at my website, I often refer other professionals, life coaches, psychologists, psychiatrists, MDs, marriage counselors, and so on, to help you with situations that I'm not qualified to answer questions to and help you out with. Anything that you see at my website, I thoroughly have checked them out, and I highly endorse and recommend and suggest any systems, products, other newsletters, whatever it might be. Feel free to take a look there. And as always, I hope you're thinking a lot about your own life before I close. And I always like to say this because, in a way, someone from my past who's gone now, who has got a little, still something burning in my heart, a little spark in there of him that I remember. An older guy at one time told me to always tell people that you wish that they would start thinking about their own life and how beautiful they are inside. So that kind of hangs on to me. And the reason you need to look at the beauty within you, because the beauty within you is your passion. And your passion, whatever you're passionate about, is the will of God. It's God's will for you. So the light within you is God's will. Honor that light within you and start reflecting it to the material world, making your life situation just wonderful. I've about run out of time. I enjoyed this so much. I hope you did too. And until next time, God bless. James Nussbaumer signing off.